Listen, this is for my African girls, especially my Nigerian girls who are married or are going to get married. Please, please, please open your ears and open your eyes.
This saying that African women and American women, when it comes to marriages, African women can take abuse in marriages, but American women don't, because they are trained to any little thing, divorce. But when it comes to African women, they will tolerate BS from their man. They will stay in an abusive relationship because they were not trained to divorce. So she's trying to give advice to African women that they should listen or learn from American women. Let me roll the clip for you all to watch to the end, and I'll be back to share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Listen, this is for my African girls, especially my Nigerian girls who are married or are going to get married. Please, please, please open your ears and open your eyes. Marry very carefully. Pay attention to your in-laws. That thing called in-laws matters. You understand? Nigerian girls, we tend to ignore American women, and we tend to ignore the things that they talk about in marriage and make it seem like, oh, it's such an American shit. That's such an American shit. American women know how to be married more than African women. African women know how to be abused. African women, we're trained and raised to know how to be abused. Because African men know that we're not raised to believe in divorce. I got married a year ago, and I always knew in my life, I always knew that I believe in divorce easily. I will not tolerate less than, because I will never be my mother. I will never be my mother. I will never be my grandmother. I will never be a lot of women that I know. And I married in the culture knowing this, seeing the signs that something was awry within my in-laws, and I still so badly wanted to believe that it was different. He was going to be different. He's not his environment, whatever. Bullshit. A lot of African men are more broken than American men, white men, black men, whatever. African men are damaged. The only difference is at least they'll work hard and get money. If that's it, they'll work hard and get money. African men are emotionally abusive. They are physically abusive too, but that nigga's not crazy. I will really shoot him. I will really end him. What I'm telling you is, please, my Nigerian women, put yourself first. We must end this cycle of marriage. You must end it. You deserve the same happiness anybody else is getting. And just because you're African and we don't believe in divorce does not mean you stay in bullshit. Leave.
Do you agree? I agree with her. I feel like African women see a lot of insult, a lot of abuse, a lot of so many things. It's difficult for we Africans, especially in Nigeria. I can relate because I'm in Nigeria. So it's difficult for married women to just wake up in the morning and leave, unlike it is easy or easier for American women in, I feel like because of the way the society is, and the insults, the fear, the shame, they've made it look as if, oh, if you leave a marriage, or a woman that leaves a marriage because of a little, they call it little thing, might be little as cheating according to them. It might be little as physical abuse, emotional abuse. They see it as you're not patient, you're not submissive, or you're a woman that you probably want to, go sleep around. So you being locked in a house with a man is not enough for you. They kind of, they always try to put the blame on women every time. And most of the time, when you see a woman that come out and say she wants to leave a marriage, they always try to look at the woman in a bad way, that she's all wrong. She's the one that she wasn't patient enough. She was not forgiving enough. Is it cheating? You see some African women who come out to talk about why would they divorce their husband because he's cheating? They don't care. Or some would say, why would I divorce my husband because he's beating me? So far he buys me gifts. Like they just, normalize a lot of abuse and make it seem like it's normal, which is wrong because it's trying to look as if trying to give these men this power, like whatever I do, this woman still stays and I don't need to change my behavior, I don't need to change my ways. But I feel like if African women can learn from American women and see that this is not the right way to live, this is not the right way marriage is supposed to be. You're supposed to, not tolerate a lot of BS that much from your partner. Even if you want to take BS and all of that, it shouldn't be so much and so obvious that even you're so unhappy and you're being abused physically and emotionally, everything, your partner is not just worth it and you're still there just because of society, just because, like, it's just so crazy and it's so rampant here. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen in America and American women do not, still stay there because we see videos and we see all these things, but it's so much here, it's so much. In fact, it's even this place that you will see wives going to beat their husband's side chick to go and, double cross their husband's side chick and start beating or calling their husband's side chick. Why are you talking to my husband? Leave my husband alone. Your husband snatcher. Is the wives here that do it most of the time. And they don't even, like, what is your take? Do you think that African women need to learn from American women on how marriage works? Let me know down in the comment section. Speaking of marriage, Evie posted on her page, I saw a video and she was saying that she got an advice from a married woman telling her when she was young. She said she received advice from a married woman on her streets. Let's watch her video and I'll be back to share my thoughts at the end of the video.
I'll never forget how when I was still in the university and living with my parents, there was this woman who lived on our street. And whenever she saw me when I was back home during the holidays, she used to always ask me, who is he, where is he, and when is he coming to do the needful? Him being my boyfriend and the needful being marriage. At first it started very innocently and seemed somewhat normal, like she was joking or just making like cute conversations, until it got intense and it got to the point where eventually when she saw me, my marriage was the only thing she wanted to talk about. My encounters with her got so weird and uncomfortable for me to the point where whenever I went to leave the house, I would spy to make sure that she's not on the streets before coming out because I couldn't deal. Until this day where I could not escape her. And this woman told me something I would never forget. And she said to me, she said, Evie, it's good a woman gets married when she is younger. Because when a woman is older, she gets wiser. And when a woman is wiser, it's a problem. Because a wiser woman would not take rubbish. But in marriage, there are a lot of rubbish that a woman has to take. And that is why it is best for a woman to get married when she's young, naive, and dumb. So when said rubbish starts to happen, because she's so young and dumb, she would not know that said rubbish is rubbish. So she would take it. So she would have a peaceful, long-lasting marriage. Unlike the woman who gets married when she's older and wiser, when said rubbish starts to come, she would push back against it. She'll be like, I'm not taking this ish. And that would lead to her not having a peaceful, long-lasting marriage. When I told you that my jaw dropped in front of this woman after she said all of this, and the scariest part for me is that I could see in this woman's eyes that she genuinely believed that she just gave me a very good advice. I could see in her eyes that she genuinely was saying all of this from a place of love. If I'm not married and this is the advice I received from a married woman, it really does make you understand why there are women in toxic situations, toxic marriages, abusive marriages, and why they still can't be able to leave. Because they've been trained to believe in these stupid ideologies, and these are the kind of advice that people around them most likely are giving them. That as a woman, that's something you need to put up with to have a long-lasting marriage. That woman was the first podcast bro I ever encountered in my entire life. Because now, looking at the podcast bro and the things that they say on their podcast, they will be talking about, they can't marry an older woman or be with an older woman because older women are stuck in their ways. That's what she said. When you're older, you are wiser. When you're wiser, you will not take rubbish. So they cannot manipulate you. She was the first podcast bro. And I met her in real life. Like, that woman was the first Pearl I ever encountered. She was the first Andrew Tate. She was the first Fresh and Fit. And I somehow always found my way to her podcasts. Against my will. Google Kibi. A lot of advice on the streets. Most would definitely set you up for failure and ruin you if you are not lucky for life. Y'all better be careful out there. Stay safe. And use your akwanuche. Because, hey! Anybody that will tell you to be dumb, that being dumb is okay, and that's the way you would achieve anything good, is lying to you. Is setting you up for failure, whether intentionally or unintentionally, or intentionally. It would not change the fact that they are giving some bloody, diabolical advice. So, yeah, stay dangerous. Because now whenever I go back home to visit my parents or whatever, and I come by her on the street, her advice is the only thing I remember, her telling me to stay dumb. But yeah, let me know, did any one of you grow up with a podcast bro on your streets? Please, I can't be the only one, I beg.
What kind of advice is that? You're telling a young girl, as a married woman, you're telling a young girl, marry young. Because when you get old, you have sense. Or when you're 29, 30, and all that, if you get married at that time, you will have sense. So marry when you are young, so that when your brain has not fully developed, that is the best time to marry. And that is why these men, they always say, when you ask them, when they ask you your age, the ones that are in the dating pool, when they ask you your age and you be like, I am 13, maybe I'm not saying I'm not 31, I'm 32, I'm 33, you're like, I'm not interested, and there's a no for me. And you ask them why, and they be like, oh, she's too old. Why do you think she's so old? They'll be like, oh, she's too wise, she'll be wise. Because they always like them young. They always try to catch women young. And just imagine a married woman advising a young girl that you're disturbing to get married. Like, this women disturbing girls to get married is very common. It's very common here in Nigeria. I remember my mom's friend who was always disturbing me. And I get married. Where's your boyfriend? It's normal. Like, I feel like everybody was always disturbed one way or the other. In fact, I was also always running away from my mom's friend. And she's disturbing me. When I get married, Anyways, my own is that, what kind of advice is that? You're literally telling her to go do something, but now you're telling her that she has to do it while she's dumb. Meaning that thing doesn't even make sense. Because why should I do something when I'm dumb? Why can't I do it with my clear eye, knowing I know what I'm doing? Why can't I go into it with my clear eye? So even you that are inside, it shows that you were dumb when you did it, but then you're advising me to enter it. Not that you have sense. You're not telling somebody that has not gotten to that. Like, it's just so annoying. And that also relates to childbirth and all of that. You see some women that are miserable. You see them, they hate their children. They cannot stand. They're always shouting, raising their voice. They cannot even have time for themselves. But they see you having time for yourself, doing things. You're child-free. You're living your life. They are not happy. So they keep telling you, advising you, you have to give birth young, or you have to give birth to all your children young. Them that they give birth to their children young, they are miserable. And it's just so annoying, to be honest. The kind of advice you get from somebody, and it shows like as if they're trying to show you love, but they are not. They're not trying to show you love. Is it that she did not listen to her advice, or she did not listen to the words that came out of her mouth first? Or in fact, think about the words first bringing it out, because what kind of advice is that? And now I see why people always advise people in their 20s to get married. Oh, I got married when I was 19. And most of the time, women that get married when they are 19, 20, 21, like that, eventually when they could get to a particular stage in their life, they feel left out. They feel like they've lost a lot of years as supposed to enjoy themselves. At first, it might not look like that. It might look like a very, a fairy tale. But later, they always, most of them always trying to be like, oh, I wish I lived my life, first of all, before, getting stuck in this situation. Because at that age, they're very productive. They start having so many children and their life is on hold. Some of them might even lie to themselves that their life is not old, they still have time for themselves. But it cannot be like if you didn't have kids and if you're not married at that age. I feel like in your early 20s, you're supposed to be pursuing yourself, try to know who you are, try to enjoy yourself, enjoy life and all of that. I don't think that should be the time you're supposed to be running towards marriage. That is my own opinion. What is your take on today's conversation? Let's have a conversation in the comment section respectfully. It's your girl Maria David again. And don't forget to like and share and subscribe. If you have not subscribed and you're watching this video, please subscribe. Let us hit 40,000 subscribers, right? And turn on the post notification bell so you can get notified when I upload another interesting video. And of course, I'll see you in my next one.